It's kind of weird that in 2023 we're still talking about Rogue Squadron. Now this is a project that has long been believed to be cancelled, indefinitely delayed, off the roster, and all is said and done. But we've got to remember that back at Star Wars Celebration, Kathleen Kennedy said they're still talking about it. And the wording she used kind of implies they might use some ideas from Patty Jenkins' original script, or some more broad ideas, and implement them in other films and other shows. But Kennedy saying that the movie could come back in some form has got me thinking. The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series, or Ahsoka Season 1, just told us exactly how they can do this. Now before we dive into this discussion, I want to share with you a piece of concept art that was posted by Lucasfilm concept artist Vincent Jenkins. It's very impressive and very much inspired by Top Gun Maverick, which itself had a lot of Star Wars elements to it. In this piece of Star Wars art, we see an X-Wing and a pilot, and fans have been wondering, could Jenkins here be sharing some concept art that was intended for Patty Jenkins' film? He responded to a comment asking this by saying, it could be, and the aesthetic seems to match what was described and some of the early sets here in the UK. Now as I mentioned earlier, the Mandoverse has given us exactly how a Rogue Squadron movie could happen, and in my opinion, should happen. I don't think Lucasfilm realises the golden goose within their grasp. The title is so malleable, they could theoretically recycle it under a new premise and a new time period. Early speculation spoke of post-Rise of Skywalker, Poe Dameron, and an older Wedge Antilles after the Battle of Exegol. But here is my idea. Set it in the Mandoverse, incorporate a ton of elements Jon Favreau had for Rangers of the New Republic, and have the entire film or show, however they want to do it, centre around Carson Teva as the main character. Paul Sun-Hyung Lee has been a staple of this entire era, the New Republic in live-action canon, and the Rogue Squadron could be a Delphi squadron, whose captain helped Harrison Jula by gathering the other New Republic fighters from a different squadron to help on the mission to Cetos, which was unauthorized and against the wishes of Mon and the Senate Council. Now that is pretty rogue. Now granted, not all of these were part of a Delphi squadron, but as a strong leader with a rebellious heart, Teva's influence no doubt rubs off on the others. Lieutenant Reed, Trapper Wolf, Sash Keta, and not to mention, Zeb's job, which was confirmed by Ezra, training recruits, could give us insight into how some of the squadron are trained. Newcomers, that would be amazing to explore. Because think about it guys, Thrawn is back in the known galaxy. There is going to be a full-fledged war between the Imperial Remnant and the New Republic. Why not focus an entire film or show around the antics and adventures of one very determined squadron who will do anything to stop the threat, even sometimes defying orders from higher-ups like Mon Mothma, Shiono, so you could have something akin to a canon version of the X-Wing books set in the Mandoverse with these new characters. And would Dave Filoni pass up an opportunity to have a show that would no doubt include his character Trapper Wolf? Carson Teva's been a big part of Mando, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, and there is no doubt that Jon Favreau had big plans for him in Rangers of the New Republic. Originally that show was meant to centre around Cara Dune, which was Gina Carano's character, and given Teva's interaction with her in Mando Season 2, he was going to play a big part of that as well. She may not be a joiner, but Carson would have convinced her to be part of the New Republic in a bigger way, especially now that Thrawn is back. Well, even though we don't have Cara Dune anymore, we do have Carson, as well as an array of fantastic New Republic characters, Harrison Jula, the lieutenants and senators we saw in Ahsoka, and if they did decide to do Rogue Squadron as a standalone Mandalorian era show, it could give us a refreshing, non-Force user point of view of some of the inner workings of this New Republic. And I do believe there is a lot of precedence for it. I still hold on to the theory that a lot of Favreau's plans got really torn apart after Rangers was shelved, because even though that was just one show, he's now incorporating those elements into Mando and Ahsoka. And many criticisms aimed towards Mando Season 3 is that the scenes and episodes that focused on Coruscant with the New Republic stuff did not always flow as well as the Bo-Katan and Din Djarin storyline. And while personally I loved the episode The Convert, there's a part of you when watching the episode where you're just saying, this should just be its own show. And you saw this a lot when the episode aired, fans saying, it just feels like two different shows. But if he could have focused all of that creative energy and all those ideas into one succinct series such as Rangers, or as I'm proposing now, Rogue Squadron, then you could have a lot more coherence in the way you tie them in. They don't all have to fit into the titular show. So here's the thing. I can't imagine Lucasfilm are not having this conversation, that Carson Teva is the one who raised the alarm about Gideon's escape, and he was right. And now with the CTOS thing, ultimately once again, he was right. And so if they have this character as someone who can crack cases, he's got great premonition, he's good at investigating, I'm sure they realise the potential for him to be a lead in a show. And we should see Carson in Mando Season 4 as well, as Din is now Navarro and has agreed to take up contract work with the New Republic. There is inevitably a connection there. There is a lot of appeal to this character, a master with a blaster, a good sense of humour, and on top of that he's got a good heart. He fits right into the Star Wars universe. We do know a little bit about his backstory. During the days of the rebellion, pre-Endor, he started serving the Alliance right before the time of Leia's home planet of Alderaan was destroyed. Little else is known about his actions during that time, so by exploring him during the New Republic, just like in his conversation with Cara Dune, you can also give us little breadcrumbs about his past. And I'm betting now he's gonna get a promotion, because think about it this way, Shiona, Mon Mothma, even good old
It's a trap!
Admiral Akbar did not heed the warnings of Hera and Carson. This is why I think he's going to be vital in Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie when the New Republic starts investigating Thrawn's actions further, thumbing his nose up to authority. He'd be perfect for a show called Rogue Squadron. As I say, just change the context and the definition, but it's this determination and devotion to doing what's right that makes him unfortunately the perfect candidate to be sacrificed in Dave Filoni's movie. And I've seen this theory going round. Someone the other day about Carson Teva commented that he is the embodiment of some things are more important than self-preservation, the main lesson of the good guy character he plays, the one who's willing to do what's right, rather than following blindly. But I would love if he survived into General Leia's resistance further down the line, but given that era's already been explored and he's not there, that kind of worries me, in the same way Hera's absence does too. But I think this was a lovely piece of concept art, and I suppose my question to you guys in the comments down below is, would you have wanted to see a film like Rogue Squadron if you put all of the drama aside regarding Patty Jenkins, creative differences that were reportedly the reason it was indefinitely delayed? Is this a film you'd rather see in the roster than, let's say, the upcoming Rey movie, James Mangold's film, or even Dave's film? And do you think Dave's movie is going to be the start of a trilogy? Are we going to have more than just one standalone Mandalorian movie? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear them. And thank you so much for watching, guys. If you got this far into the video, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.